So because it says solve, we have done lots of solve questions before. But when you first look at this, it looks a lot different than the solve questions you had before. It's an equation, it's equal to 1, it gives us the domain. But on the left side, we've got cos 4x cos x plus sine 4x sine x. So again, the reason I ask you to memorize your formulas is so that when you see cos cos, sine sine, it should trigger, I have that as one of my formulas. If you don't have your formulas memorized, you will just look at this and get scared and probably leave it blank. So the fact is, what if this is alpha, and this is beta, and this is alpha, and this is beta? Which formula does that match up with? Cos of alpha minus beta. So then I could write this whole left-hand side as cos of 4x minus x, and it's still equal to 1. What would you do next? Right. You'd simplify the inside. So one of the things that mathematics does is the first thing it wanted to trigger that you recognize that as one of your sum and difference formulas, and then you changed it to cos 4x minus x. At each step in an equation, you have to reevaluate, you look at it and say, now what? What do I know? What could I do? And of course, the next step was pretty obvious what you could do because a lot of you saw, oh, 4x minus x, those are like terms, I can combine them together. Now I get cos 3x equals 1. What does that remind you of? What can I do? Yeah, it's a multi-revolution question. So now that you have to bring back all that stuff, well, what did we do with multi-revolution questions? Well, the first thing we did with multi-revolution questions is we thought about the domain. Here, the domain is 0 is less than or equal to x is less than 2 pi. So that means that 3x is going to be between 0 and 6 pi. Because we just multiply everything by 3. Then we look at cos 3x equals 1. Okay? This 3x is inside of the cos function. You are not allowed to divide both sides by 3 because it's inside of the function. When you learned your order of operations way back in grade 8, some of you might have learned BEDMAS. Do you remember that? Because you do brackets first, then exponents, then divide, multiply, add, and subtract. You hadn't learned functions yet, but when you have something inside of a function, you have to do that first. It's sort of like the brackets. Maybe you could add functions in front and change your acronym to FBEDMAS or something like that. Maybe not. But you can't divide both sides by 3. So you have to say, that's why this is a multi-revolution question. And since it's a multi-revolution question, we go, well, is 1 ever a value on our pi plate? Yes. For cos, for our x coordinate? Yes. It's at 0 and 2 pi. Good. That's your first time around. With a multi-revolution question with the 3x, it's like going 3 times around to 6 pi. So in the second time around, what answer will you also add to this? 4 pi. And the third time around, you would add 6 pi. And exactly, once you get to that third time around, you say, oh, but there's no equal sign here, so 6 pi can't be included. So we've only got 0, 2 pi, and 4 pi. And that's equal to 3x. So solving for x, we'd have to divide everything by 3, which is the same as multiplying by a third. And there are our 3 answers between 0 and 2 pi. All right, so to end up section 7.5, you have question 15 and 17 to do. Now, we're not going to take time right now.